All right. So I just took a shower, so as my hair is kind of wet. I didn't get a haircut. So yeah, we're just gonna do a quick one here. Thomas Pynchon, crying of lot 35. I mean Thomas Pynchon. Where are we? Oh yeah, is an American novelist. He was born in 1937. He's still alive. Lives in New York. As far as I know, he lives up Upper West Side somewhere. He's noted for dense and complex novels. His fiction and nonfiction writings encompass a very vast array of subject matter: history, music, science, mathematics. For Gravity's Rainbow, Pynchon won the National Book Award. He is regarded as one of the greatest American novelists. So he went to Cornell. I think Sukanik told me he was going there at the same time as Pynchon, and Nabokov was teaching at Cornell, and Steve Erickson, who I later interviewed him, or had the same agent, knew, had met Pynchon a couple times. So let's read a little bit of this and get a little flavor of the first chapter of The Crying of Lot 49. One summer afternoon, Mrs. Oedipus Moss came home from a Tupperware party whose hostess had put perhaps too much kirsch in the fondue to find that she, Oedipa, had been named executor of, or she supposed, executrix, executrix of the estate of the Pierce, of the one Pierce Verity, a California real estate mogul who had once lost $2 billion in his spare time, but still had assets numerous and tangled enough to mark the job of sorting it all out more than honorary. Oedipa stood in the living room, stared at by the greenish dead eye of the TV tube, spoke the name of God, tried to feel as drunk as possible, but this did not work. She thought the hotel room in Mazatlan, whose door had just been slammed, it seemed forever, waking up 200 birds down the lobby at sunrise over the library slope at Cornell University that nobody out on it had seen because the slope faces west, a dry, disconsolate tune from the fourth movement of Bartok Concertos for Orchestra, a whitewashed bust of Jay Gould that Pierce kept over the bed on a shelf so narrow for it. She had always had the hovering fear that it would someday topple on them. Was that how he died, she wondered, among dreams, crushed by the only icon in the house that only made her laugh out loud and helpless? You're so sick, Oedipus, she told herself, or the room, which knew. So there's a letter. So yeah, there's when did you write this book? So yeah, 65. So yeah, there's yeah, kind of when I read it, it's kind of seemed like sort of influenced by Harry Matthews' Conversions, which was kind of like not really well reviewed, maybe not unknown. And what else are we doing? 4 minutes. Okay, so let's just talk about what happens in this book. This book is like one of those books. Okay, so Oedipama, the young wife of a man named Mucho, lives in Canaret, California. One day she receives a letter from a law firm telling her that her ex-boyfriend Pierce has died and named her the executor of his estate. Oedipa resolves to faithfully execute her duty, and she travels to San Francisco, Pierce's hometown, where she meets the lawyer Metzger, assigned to help her, with whom she spontaneously begins an affair. As they go about sorting through Pierce's tangled affair, Oedipus takes notes of the fact that Pierce owned a extensive stamp collection. One night, Oedipa and Metzger go to a bar called The Scope where they meet Mike Fallopian, a member of the right wing fanatical organization called the Peter Penguin Society. In the bathroom of the bar, Oedipus sees a symbol that she later supposes to represent a muted post horn. Written below the symbols are the acronym WASTE, WASTE, and the name Kirby. Oedipus makes note of all this info before returning to chat with Mike at the bar. Oedipus and Metzger take a trip to one day to Fangaso Lagoons, an area in which Pierce owned a substantial amount of land. There they meet a man named Manny DePresso, a lawyer who is suing the Rarity estate on behalf of his client who recovered and sold human bones to Rarity but did not receive proper payment. Pierce wanted the bones to make charcoal for cigarette filters. A member of the Paranoids, a hippie band that follows Oedipus around, points out that many stories similar to that of a 17th century play, The Courier's Tragedy. Oedipus and Metzger decide to see a production of the play nearby. The play mentions the word Tristero, a word which fascinates Oedipus because of its placement within the play. She goes backstage to speak to the director, Randolph Driblet, who tells her to stop over analyzing the play. She resolves to call him back later. After rereading Pierce's will later on, Oedipus goes to the stockbrokers meeting for the Yo-Yo Dyeing Company, a firm owned part by Interverti. After taking a brief tour, she stumbles into the office of Stanley Kotex, who is drawing the muted post-horn symbol on the pad of paper. He tells her about a scientist named John Nephastus who has built a type of Merkwell demon or physically impossible machine that allows for perpetual motion by violating the second law of thermodynamics. Kotex encouraged Oedipus to meet with Nephastus. Wanting to learn more about the Courier's tragedy, Oedipus gets an anthology of Jacobean revenge plays. She noticed that the paperback copy has no mention of the Tristero, however, which puzzles her. She decides to go to Berkeley to meet with the publisher. In the meantime, she stops by an elderly care home that Pierce had once owned, where she meets with an old man with a ring depicting the muted post horn. So yeah, that's in this book. Yeah. So yeah, this symbol right here. Let's see. Yeah, that thing. That's what we're talking about. So since there's been a lot of mention of that, it's kind of important that you see it. Goes to Berkeley. She encounters the horn almost everywhere, leading her to believe that she may be hallucinating. Just before dawn, however, she encounters an old man who hands her a letter and asks her delivered by a waste under the freeway. After helping the man to his room, Oedipus finds a waste facility under the freeway, drops in the letter, and waits for the delivery man, whom she follows to Oakland and back to Berkeley. After he picks up letters and delivers them, Oedipus returns to her home in Kinneret to see the doctor, who begins shooting at her as she pulls up. He has gone crazy, obsessed with the idea that the Israelis are coming to kill him because he assisted the Nazis in World War II. After he is arrested, Oedipus sees her husband Mucho and spends some time with him, although she quickly sees that he has become addicted to LSD, making it difficult to communicate effectively. Increasingly alone, Oedipus seeks out Emery Bortz, an English professor at San Narciso College who has extensive knowledge of the Jacobean revenge plays. With his help, she pieces together the history of the Tristero, which dates back to mid-century, 16th century Europe. She learns that Driblet has died, which means she will never know why he included the lines about Tristero in his production of The Courier's Tragedy. These lines are not ordinarily included in the play. Oedipus begins to give up as she realizes that she is very lonely and has no real friends. She visits Mike Fallopian again, who suggests that the whole Tristero mystery may be nothing but more than a huge, complex joke played on her by Pierce. Oedipus will not accept this possibility, but realizes that every route leading to Tristero also leads to Inverarity Estate. Meanwhile, Genghis Cohen helps her piece together some mysteries about the Pierce Stamps collection, which is to be auctioned off by a local dealer as Lot 49. Genghis has heard that a secretive bidder will attend the auction to bid on Lot 49, but he will not reveal himself beforehand. Oedipa goes to the auction, excited to find out who the bidder is, thinking that may know the key to the Tristero. The novel ends as Oedipa sits in the room waiting for the crying of Lot 49, which he will discover the identity of the mystery bidder. So, yeah, so a lot of this stuff, I mean, like, there's other books, there's um, what was some of his books? Okay, so he wrote V in '63. That's sort of a bigger book. Maybe more like kind of like New York novel, maybe a more conventional novel. The Crown of Lot 49, sort of like Matthews, sort of like the later stuff he did, like Inherent Vice and Bleeding Edge. It seems like more like, and then Mason, and then there's Mason, Gravity's Rainbow, Mason and Dixon, and the other big one. What's the other one called? Um, Against the Day or whatever. So I should read those. I might read Against the Day and reread Vineland soon. But let's see. So I still think it's. The plot seems like very much like the. What happened here? Okay, so book summary. So it was Quite a Lot 49 was written in the 60s, and it kind of talks about the John Kennedy assassination. But and the idea of titling the Crying of Lot 49. Yeah, I mean it's like a title you don't know what it means until the very end of the book. That's a lot like Harry Matthews and The Sinking of Oderdrecht Stadium, which is the title is you don't know what it means until it's the title ends up being something that happens after the book's over and stuff. So that kind of it seems like Matthew. I think Oderdrecht Stadium came out a little later, but let me look. I mean, did anybody think like this? I mean, they got kind of similar backgrounds, and they were kind of born. Let's see. Okay, so let's forget that. So let me just look Harry Matthews. Okay, so Harry Matthews. Okay, so he the Conversions came out, which is like a similar plot of the guy that goes to a party and he gets they have a contest and he wins the ads, and he's like the whole book he's trying to figure out the meaning of all this the things on the ads, the little. So there's Conversion 62. So that came out a little slightly. Then Toulouse came out in 66, around the same time as Lot 49. And then Oderdrecht Stadium came out in 75. But I think he wrote it before. I think nobody probably wanted to publish that. Probably it's a very difficult book. But in that book, he's the main character, which I don't remember the name, gets an ads, which is like what is an ads? It's like isn't it like a little weapon? Yeah, like it's like it's like a hoe or it's like an axe. So there's an engraving on it which has all these scenes of the white goddess on it. So he's trying to search. It's like there's a will. The guy Grant Whale dies at the beginning of the book, and they have a little party, and they say he wins he wins the ads, and it's like whoever has the ads should tell me these three questions. And he has like these three questions, and he's like trying to find the meaning of this. So like throughout the book, there's a big search. So that kind of reminds me of that a bit. The same. So, but and then Inherent Vice. It just seems like a very similar book where just like the guy's on this kind of trail that kind of goes nowhere. So yeah, this is kind of interesting. It's so 66. So a lot of the books I'm talking about today are from that same time. I mean, they're similar. So we'll end it there. It's only 50 minutes. Okay, let's